Welcome to Triple H, Hamilton Happy Hour, where we talk about pianos, talk about music, and everything else in between. Hey everybody, welcome back to Hamilton Happy Hour. We are joined once again with Mike and Mike. What's up, guys?
Hey everybody.
Hey y'all. Good morning, good afternoon, and
good night.
evening. Good night.
That was from the Truman Show.
Good afternoon.
Morning,
I don't believe so.
Good night. Well, I do. Anyway.
Definitely was.
And we have Kyle Mechmet with us. Kyle is a saxophonist and a professor at FAU.
That's right. Hello, everyone.
Hey Kyle.
Welcome.
Yeah, man. So you are the professor at FAU for music.
Yes.
And you've also played in numerous orchestras all over.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you are the artist for...
So besides FAU, I'm currently the Adjunct Professor of Saxophone there. I'm an artist in residence for Dreyfoos School of the Arts. So I'm there regularly teaching the saxophones in the band classes. And then I have worked at Bak Middle School of the Arts before. I've also worked for Dillard Center for the Arts, as well as some other schools in the area. And then as far as orchestras go, I've performed with, as a sub, the South Florida Symphony, the Symphony of the Americas, the New World Symphony in Miami, and the Naples Philharmonic.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
It's quite a list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. My son goes to FAU, and you are his professor, and you and him have gotten along very, very well. And my son's become such a much better saxophonist since you've been, he's been under you. You've been tutoring him.
You just, if you yell at him enough.
Oh, he has.
No, it's
Sometimes it just doesn't get through.
yeah. It's really the students come and they. I don't know. You don't always know the mindset of the student. You hope that they're there to do the thing that you want them to be there for in the way that, you know, there's kind of this understood. If you're coming to do this, you've chosen this over everything else. And you're going to be spending four years at a university level dedicating yourself to this. And the first thing I have to try and do is motivate the students to get them to realize that I see them for 1 hour in the week. I'm not doing the practicing for them. I'm not doing the reflection. I'm not doing the networking for them. I'm merely there to act as a guide and a mirror and a motivator. And if they're working hard and doing what they need to do, then they'll succeed. But it takes a lot on their part, and I just have to bring that out of them.
Right. And not just with what you do, like we were talking with Lisa Leonard, you know, at the last podcast, you know, because she teaches a lot too, you know, it's with all instruments, you know, I mean, but you have to think about it this way too, when you are, okay, this isn't high school, this is college. That's a whole different world. So you are an adult. You're there, you should be serious. I know Brandon has told me, you know, there's so many people that aren't serious, and it bothers him, you know, because he's very serious. And for the ones that aren't, it's like, why are you here?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I went to FAU for my undergrad, so I'm well aware of what happens at a university at that level. I also have gone to I went to the University of Iowa for my master's degree, which is one of the Big Ten schools. It's one of the best in the world for the saxophone studio. But the rest of the music program there is really phenomenal as well. And you have that everywhere, actually. You would think that at these prestigious places that they're all motivated, but it's not always the case. So as much as it's nicer to work with other students that have that motivation, you have to learn how to deal with people around you not being as motivated as you are, because not everybody has it.
Yeah. And it's hard, you know, because there's things that you can probably see in a student that they can't see in themselves. And you're like, I know you got it in you. We just got to get it out of you. you know, and get you to feel and see. It's like I had told Brandon, I said, Brandon, once you stop playing from here and you start playing from here, you're going to be a whole different musician, and the time it's like when he's at home and he's just playing, from here. Wow, and as time has gone on and you mentoring him too, he's gotten that way, But I remember the first time I ever heard you play the saxophone. I'm not kidding you, man. I never heard a saxophone sound like that before. You were doing it was for the Symphonic Band of Palm Beaches, and you had a solo, and I'm sitting there like, oh my God, that's my son's professor. I'm like. And so I had talked to Brandon too, because, one of the things was he wanted to go to FSU and this and this. And I said, wait a minute, think about this. You've got Kyle. I told him this. I said, you are in a better situation here with him than going to FSU. And I told him that, and you can ask him that if you don't believe me. But I did. And I said, not everybody's going to get that. And I saw that when I heard you play. And that's him and I were going somewhere. I don't remember where, and we were talking about it. And so FSU was kind of, withering away in his brain to a point. But it was the way that you played it. And then I've been to a few of the concerts and heard you play, and I'm like, how do you do that? I want to know, how do you make that saxophone sound the way that it does? I never heard a saxophone sound like that before.
It's a good question. It's been a long process. While at FAU, the professor at the time, Neil Bonsanti, was a multi-woodwind recording artist, gigging workhorse musician type of guy. He was great at saxophone, but most of my playing is concert and classical saxophone. That wasn't quite his specialty. He played oboe, more jazz saxophone, all the woodwinds for doubling whatever he needed to do. So I had another friend that was older that had kind of helped me, but not self-taught, but I didn't quite have the access to the knowledge and resources that other students had at other schools with, a heavy hitter classical saxophone professor. So I had to do a lot of stuff on my own. But I think that also helped me because when you figure it out on your own, that gives you the ability to be able to explain it to somebody else better. So once I got to Iowa to study with Dr. Kenneth Che, it was a bit of a shock. I really had to kind of relearn a lot of stuff, and then over time, you go to more performances. You play on other mouthpieces and equipment. So I think it's a combination of making sure that the equipment you're using is in good shape, so that you can be free to play without worrying about, is my instrument working? Is this low note going to come out? And then knowing enough about what kind of mouthpieces you like. It needs to be a good mouthpiece. The reed and mouthpiece need to match. You need to have trained your facial muscles and your oral cavity shape to get that tone, to really let the saxophone do what it was designed to. And of course, supporting with enough air. So there's that kind of aspect to it. But the other aspect to it is, and I kind of equate this to, I'm studying Japanese. And over the last year, I've been comparing that to learning a musical instrument. I think there's so many parallels. But if you are trying to learn another language and not have an accent, how do you achieve that? And I think a big part of that is the same ways that you do for language, you do for music. So input is really important. You need to know what it's supposed to sound like. It's like if you want to be a professional basketball player and you have this dream and you never go watch a basketball game. Like you're not going to know how to be a professional basketball player if you never. I mean, you can shoot perfect free throws all day, but if you never go watch games, it's not going to build that input. So input, good equipment, and and lots of practice.
Yeah.
Lots of practice.
And it's I think too with musicians, a lot of musicians play different instruments, but there's one that they're going to be better at than the others. It's just like there's a lot of technicians here, and some are better at others at certain things. It's just the way it is. It's human nature. It's life. It's just how it is. So I think it's kind of the same thing with musicians. But you just came back from Japan doing a concert, correct?
Yeah. I'm lucky in that my wife gets to travel for her job quite a bit, which means I get to travel for her job a little bit. So we got back from Japan in what was it? Early May. We were there for about 2 weeks. I didn't go there with stuff planned already. But I had visited Japan twice before, and I have made some friends each time. So I was able to organize some teaching. I made a couple recording projects with a couple groups. We just kind of met and read through and recorded some things. And then I was going to do a recital, but it ended up being very busy. The school I was going to had a knockout-style baseball schedule. So if they were knocked out, then we would have the recital. But because their team kept winning, good for them.
Good for them, yeah.
We weren't able to do the recital. But the halfway through the trip, I saw a French saxophone quartet, Ellipsis, had posted on Instagram that they had just arrived in Tokyo, and we had just left to go to Kyoto, but we were coming back. I messaged them, telling them I was in Japan, and they said, "Oh, are you going to be in Tokyo on it was Friday or Saturday?" And I was like, "Yes." And they're like, "Okay, come to this huge music festival and play with us." So,
nice.
Cool.
yeah, so we got to do it was Ravel's Bolero, but for saxophone orchestra. So we had the core group was the quartet plus some students from Senzoku Gakuen, and then they had invited whoever wanted to join to play the other parts. So I think we ended up with about 50 or so saxophonists playing Bolero.
Wow.
That was fun.
When Brandon went to Oklahoma last year for the saxophone camp that he was doing at the Oklahoma State or University of Oklahoma, I think it was, right?
Yeah, the Great Plains workshop.
Yep. And so when he was there, he realized, I got to step up my game, which is good. You're realizing, okay, hey, and he kind of felt down about himself. I'm like, but no, you know what you got to do. Go ahead and do it. But when he was there with learning that stuff, at the end of it, there was 100 saxophonists all playing together. And so I'm sitting here going, how's this going to sound? I'm in the back row. And I'm sitting there going, my wife and my daughter couldn't make it because my daughter got sick and she couldn't fly, and they were going to fly out the next day, and she just was sick the whole time, so they never made it. So it's just me. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I wonder how 100 saxophones all at the same time is going to sound, right? And what they did in the beginning was quartets, and they did, many of them, and then once they were all done, they did, it was 50 or so, I think, in that group. And then they brought 50 high schoolers in, and they played with the college kids from all over the world. And Brandon and Dion got to, selected to be able to do this workshop. Let me tell you something. That wasn't phenomenal. It didn't sound like one saxophone. It sounded like a whole orchestra. I mean, you could hear different instruments. Just for me, I'm a piano tuner, so I do listen, even though my wife says I don't. I could hear, how they were making those instruments sound like it was a full orchestra. It was absolutely incredible. I loved it. I couldn't believe how good it was. But it was kind of funny too, because when I'm there, Tina had rented this house, and I'm by myself. There's a pool, there's a pool table too, and so the first night we were there, Dion and Brandon and I, were hanging out, and they're in the dorm the whole week. So halfway through, I'm bored. I'm walking around the campus. I'm finding stuff to do. I found a piano rebuilder, Jordan Bruce. I went to his shop. I did what I did. Mostly ate because that's what I do. And then Brandon calls me like halfway through the week, and he goes, "Hey, Dad, can you pick me up so we could go to this music store?" I said, "I'm on my way." And I picked him up. Just
Let me see if I can fit it in my busy schedule.
right.
Hold on, let me check my calendar. Nope, sorry, can't do it right now.
I got a bag of Doritos coming up in 15 minutes.
But he was at
Uber Eats
lunch.
will be here in 20.
And he wanted to go to this store to get a part, and I said, okay. So we went there, and I checked it out. They had pianos, and no one came up to me to ask me anything. So I'm like, that's not really good. But anyway, I don't remember that store, and it doesn't matter. But it was just it was just that a trip. It was really, really good with that part of it, And Dion and him had a blast, and I think Brandon's doing the workshop now in it's Michigan. Is it Michigan?
I know he applied for it, and I think he was waitlisted. I don't.
Oh, okay.
I haven't heard if he.
Is that the same workshop and it travels around?
No, there's the Great Plains one is always in Oklahoma. There's another one called the American Saxophone Academy. That one has different professors. Most of the ones for the American Saxophone Academy are older. Some of the Great Plains ones are younger or different. They're both great camps. The American Saxophone Academy one is the Kerry Kaufman, Kenneth Che, Tim McAllister, Dr. Otis Murphy, Chen Quan Lin. So all around the country, it's usually those, and then they'll have a special guest. So every few years, they change which professor hosts it. So when I did it, it was in Iowa, and then it was, I don't remember where after, but I think this year it's in Michigan.
Okay.
That's got to be wild. I got to look it up and find a sax orchestra now because I can't picture really what it sounds like because you wouldn't do it if it didn't sound dynamic with a lot of different.
There's a professional one in Japan called the Mi Bemol Saxophone Orchestra, and they have tons of CDs. You should check
Is that
out.
right? Okay. All
Yeah.
right. I'll get that name from you and check them out.
So, during intermission or whatever it was, I kind of looked it up. I'm like, okay, 100 saxophonists. Okay. What's the world record? I'm kind of curious. So I looked it up. 150 saxophonists in Hawaii playing a Pledge of Allegiance, I think it was, or
The Pledge of
no, not
Star Spangled Banner.
Maybe that's what it was. Anyway,
Bill of Rights.
Magna Carta.
So I'm like, hey, Brandon, Dion, you should get everybody's phone number here, and you got 98 more guys, and now all you need is 51 more, and you could all get together and break the world record.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
That would be
And
really
not
cool.
real hard to do, probably. You'd probably get a lot of people willing to do it.
Yep. So, I mean, I just think they should still do it. I mean, it doesn't have to be all of them that was there, but even if you were to get them from here, locally, try to get as many as you can.
The best place to do it would probably be there's the North American Saxophone Alliance conference, which is the biennial, is the national version every 2 years. You could say we're trying to do a Guinness record. And,
Like, who wouldn't join in for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really,
everyone-
really cool.
Everyone's already traveling to that.
Yeah.
And the Pledge of Allegiance has got to be pretty easy to learn.
I don't know how you
over
would
the
play
rainbow.
with one hand and have your hand on your heart with the other.
Okay, maybe this is for trumpet.
Anyway, but yeah, I just thought that would be cool. That would just be something that even if you got 200, just why not?
You got 155.
Speaking of group world records, my wife is actually part of one.
Oh yeah.
Recently, you may have. I would hope it would have made local news at least, but I think it was on Flagler, downtown West Palm, where they had as many people in dinosaur costumes as they could.
Oh, really?
Did you see that?
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was recently. So she's part of that. She was.
Was it like a 5K or something like that?
No, it was just we're gonna meet at this time. Everyone wear a inflatable dinosaur costume or whatever dinosaur costume.
That's funny.
Yeah,
That's got to be a riot
They got
to watch.
more than they thought. They got more than they thought they would.
Is that right?
And it broke a record.
Yeah.
Do you know what it was? How many?
No, I have the sheet at home. We'll save that for another podcast.
Did it say Jurassic Park?
What's your wife do?
She works in aerospace. She is a
Oh, wow.
jet engineer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, we assumed you were the smart one.
Yeah.
Boy,
nope.
we were on.
Where is she?
Cheers.
She's great.
And where is she working?
She works for Pratt and Whitney out.
Pratt Whitney.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's pretty much the option.
Yeah. There's quite a few down here, but
Well,
a
there's
bunch of them
others
are
that work
smaller.
out there on their facilities, I believe. Too,
Yeah,
right?
they Aerojet, Rocketdyne, Belkin. I haven't committed all of them to memory.
Yeah, sure.
Like
Wow,
she
that's
hasn't with saxophones.
No, yeah, no.
It sounds.
She play an
Win-win.
instrument?
She does. She actually plays trombone, and she plays in the symphonic band of the Palm Beaches with Brandon and I.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We'll have to have her on the podcast one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You
Yeah,
know,
sure.
You haven't even brought her here yet.
Well, she is out working till 5:30. So yeah, it's hard to.
We can work it out.
Yeah.
We're typically here after hours.
Yeah.
Hence Hamilton Happy Hour.
Yeah, right.
But you know, it's cool to hear what other people do. You know, and to there's just so many avenues out there that you wouldn't even think about. For instance, when someone would ask me, "What do you do for a living?" I'm a piano tuner. What? Really? That's a profession? You know, they don't think about it that way until you start talking to them, and then you start explaining what you do, and they're like, "Oh, that's interesting."
They don't tune themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Even though someone's trying to make that happen, you know, it's one of those things that when you hear what different people do in their professions, it's cool. You know, there's so many paths out there. And the hard thing is, I think, is to find that path. I did tell my kids growing up, I said, listen, your life is going to be a lot easier if you find that path the younger you are and you stick with it. How do I know that? Because that's what I did. So at age 14, I had my own DJ business. My dad would drive me to gigs. I did DJing. I was cutting lawns probably before that.
My wife also DJs.
Oh yeah.
She'll help her. She'll help her brother sometimes. Yeah, but she used to do. They used to. Their DJ Double Shot Entertainment to Hennessy because their last name's Hennessy.
Oh,
So
nice.
Double Shot Entertainment.
Nice. Nice.
Sorry.
That's a good one. Mine was called, when I was 14, I drew my business card of a DJ. So he had his headphones on like this and two turntables, and he's and I drew it all up. I had to print them out. And then at 15, I was working at Mr. Tux, you know, and it was perfect because I would, you know, rent tuxedos and then book weddings and worked with the Kenny Mondo Productions and so on and so forth. But then 18, 19 years old, I got into the piano world. And a few years later, stopped everything and did that. And I think you get further faster if you stick with it earlier in life, you know, because when you go, you know, let's say you start at a job at 18 to 24, then you go to another job. Well, now you're starting at the beginning. And then you go to another. Now you're starting at the beginning. You're backtracking. If you stick with one thing, and it's hard. It's really, really hard to find what you love and like to do or whatever in the beginning. But one thing you don't want to do is 25 years later be like, I wasted 25 years of my life doing this when I really wanted to do this.
Yeah.
You know,
I think there's a lot of luck involved with that too, because sometimes you think this is what you want, and 5 years into it, you get to a certain level and you're just like, this is not what I want anymore.
I mean,
for whatever reason.
There's a saying in the millennial circle.
We
You
don't
might
care.
as well do what it is that you want to do, whatever field it is that you want to be doing, because none of them are hiring anyways.
And you know, it's hard. That is really, really hard. So when did you know that this is what you wanted to do?
That's a good question.
How long have you been playing the saxophone for?
So I started on clarinet actually
Okay.
for two reasons. One, I wanted to start on clarinet, but the middle school band director I wanted to start on saxophone, but the middle school band director had said, we have too many saxophones. You're going to play clarinet. And then the other reason was my uncle played clarinet, so we had the instruments in the family already. So I started on clarinet in 4th grade, and then was in middle school band. In 5th grade, I started learning saxophone. We had gotten a tenor saxophone. I don't know if my parents had bought me a tenor saxophone when I was younger. I don't remember if they bought it for me to start out on or if we rented one first. But so I was doing saxophone on the side, and then after in the middle of my 8th grade, we moved from Chicago to South Florida, and then I pretty much started only playing saxophone by middle of when we moved down, so middle of 8th grade.
Okay.
And
where did you move to down here?
Boca.
Boca.
Yeah.
So what school did you go to?
Olympic Heights High School.
Okay. And the music program there was?
I mean, I didn't really. I mean, we had. It was a small music program because West Boca had just opened up recently.
It's not what he teaches.
So the band director that was at Olympic went to West Boca, and there was some tension, animosity, whatever,
Sure, yeah.
and then they had one director that was there, and the students probably, I think, took a lot of their frustration out on this new band director. It's a hard role to step into, where the more pretty well known director opens up the school down the street, and then you have to take over that program that just kind of got decimated. But then the next year it was someone else, and that was my first year there. Milton Joslin, who's at John I. Leonard High School right now. But we were small, but our the program was pretty heavy into marching band, and I'm pretty sure, I think we were like 1A, and we had gotten championship one of the 2 years, I think,
Cool.
and then finalist
Nice.
the other yeers. So generally pretty competitive for marching band. So I haven't been there in a long time. I live in West Palm now, and I got a lot of other things. Started to
Right.
Are you far from here? I thought you were still in Boca.
No, I live at Okeechobee and Jogs. So it's about 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
hey,
okay. I
ain't
didn't
too
know
far.
you were over there. All right, cool. That's why you're here so much. Summertime.
Makes it easy.
Well, there's another reason why you're here so much. I don't know if we should elaborate on that or just hold off on that and let the people let that simmer.
I think we can. We'll see how far.
We might want to
Facilitate that.
We might want to take a break for a minute.
You want to take a break?
We'll take a break.
All
Okay.
right.
I'll take time out. And we're back.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
Yeah.
So, what I like hearing with our guest is just the different things that they do. You know what I mean? It's like everybody's got a whole world onto themselves that, you, your wife, we had Lisa Leonard and Copeland Davis and so on and so forth. You get to hear the bends.
We have the bends on.
Yep. And you get to hear what they're doing. I mean, that is really cool.
It really is.
I really like to hear those stories because everybody needs to hear those stories. That's the whole premise of this podcast, is for everyone to hear stories that people should share. Like my dad had stories, he told me, and I can only say so much and remember so much, but this is solidified in time with the podcast because it's always going to be out there. So, you you guys have talked about stories you've had with moves. You're talking about your stories. I've said mine. And that's one of the reasons why I love doing the podcast is because what good are the stories if what good is a book if no one's going to read it?
Yeah.
What good is a story if no one's going to hear it?
Yep.
So that's the thing I love the most about doing this. I really love doing podcasts. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
So is there any kind of new avenues that you're kind of going down with?
Yeah. Lately, I've been into video game controller modding and refurbishing.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So me and my brothers, I have an older brother and a younger brother. We would be off of school for the summers, but my mom didn't really want us to have people over or for us to go out and run around the neighborhood that much. So and it was also really it's always so hot in the summers.
All right.
So we played a lot of video games growing up, and I've just always played a lot of video games. I don't have kids, so I don't have time either. But I'll still play. In the last couple of years, I've gotten into competitive Super Smash Brothers. So there's a whole world of competitive.
There's tournaments and
There's global
What is
tournaments.
What is this game?
This is Nintendo's platform fighter. So if you think of like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, those are you're on the ground and there's like a wall and then there's the floor and there's like you can jump, but there's not really that too much of that component to it. But for Super Smash Brothers, it's a little bit different than other fighting games. There's a sort of a floating platform, and then there may or may not be different platforms above that you can jump on and through. But aerial, it's still flat, right? Like a fighting game, but there's more of an aerial component to it. The whole idea is to do enough damage to the other player, and then when you hit them, they launch farther if they have more damage, and there's an invisible box around the stage off screen. So you want to knock them either down off the platform or up or from any side first by doing enough damage and then hitting them with a strong enough attack.
Is that on Switch or is that on?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually the first one was on Nintendo 64.
Okay.
So we had that one and we played that one a lot growing up. And then the next one was on GameCube. We had that one and we played that one a lot. There are still with Melee, that was one of the first ones that people got more competitive with, if I remember correctly. So that one had an expanded roster and you could do more stuff on it.
Was that just a timing thing? Is that everything started getting more competitive by that?
Yeah,
point?
I think like probably
At a
like
certain year,
college
tournaments
campus
started going
yeah,
on
like college campus type
So
playing.
do you do the VR thing too, or
I
meta?
have one of those. I've actually it's borrowed. I've used it. It's pretty fun, but it's
have you played Creed?
no, just some Beat Saber and some other little
you
things.
gotta get it like Creed and stuff like that. That's pretty
Okay,
cool.
yeah, I'll check it out. But so yeah, we've played through all the Smashes. It's a fun like party one, and it's sort of like the way I think about it is it's sort of like it's really shares a lot of similarities with like chess. You can watch chess games. You can if someone knows if it's good at chess, you play them on chess. They could be at a different level, but you can share strategies and
Cool.
all that stuff. So there's like it's very fast paced. But the last couple of years, I've gotten just more interested in it, and I found some friends. That's also a fun party one. Like if my brother and our friends, we all know how to play, so we can just get together and play when we're all together. even as grown-ups. But then you find other people that
Never grow up.
I know.
That's the trick, man. Never grow up.
I haven't yet. But you find other people that play, and you're like, oh wow, this person's really good. And it's like,
Join our team.
you're just sparring. So
Is it a team thing in the tournaments?
the tournaments are usually 1 versus 1. You have 3 stocks, and there's a timer, and there's certain maps that are kind of more neutral, so there's not like weird ones.
So are they split screen?
Nope.
No,
You're on
it's one
You're on
screen.
one screen.
See, I hate the video games that have split screens
screen.
and quad screens.
Yeah, no,
I'm like,
these are you're all on one screen. It's really fast paced. There's a lot of mind games with it. All the characters have different like characteristics, like data with them, and you learn more about that data and how to use what when. There's kind of a rock paper scissors aspect to it.
hell, I never wanted that.
But so
I'm way better at that than video games.
We can play right now.
But at some
I
point,
got a winning percentage of 33 and a third %.
that's with him cheating.
That's right. How did you know? You must have met him already.
But I'm a picky guy, and over time you like, okay, this controller's not working great. This one's working better. Then you start learning about the
I remember
controllers, and then the GameCube controllers, which are from the early 2000s. People, the Smash is the way the game you play it works really well with that configuration of controller. So people still play with GameCube controllers often, and there's aftermarket parts, and they're very serviceable. So you learn about how the controller works, and I wanted to have one sort of cleaned up and made to work right for competitive play, and I just learned how to do it, and I've modded a bunch, and yeah.
What did we was it today? Where did we just see a bunch of like old school
It was
video game
today.
stuff? It was today,
Yeah.
right? Old
Yeah,
Nintendo
the
stuff.
old Nintendo, the NES, the original Nintendo controllers, which
was
reminds
at
me
a customer's
of,
house and they had a box of stuff, right?
Yep, we moved the chickering.
Right. Okay.
But
Her house.
I learned to solder.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, learned how to solder. I've always wanted to, never had a reason to, but wanted to learn. But yeah, for example, one of my GameCube controllers, I had bought a lot of used controllers, like for junk for parts controllers. Washed it all. I made a custom the cord. You can make the cords for it. You have to crimp the pins on the end and get the parts. And then replace the thing that wears out is the joystick, but you can replace those. It's all very, very serviceable. Learn a little bit about electronics, and now it's my favorite controller. It looks cool too.
Nice.
Good thing you didn't say you played Jumanji.
Did you ever play Mike Tyson's Punch Out?
I have.
One of the all-time favorites.
That was a good game. I like Miss Pac-Man. That's me. I could wear that joystick out. You know.
The last
So can
game
Miss Pac-Man.
that I was the last game that I remember being into was Tekken 4. That
Okay.
was
Tekken 4.
And before that, it was probably like Sega with like Hockey 94 or something like that. And then I went forever. I'm not a real gamer, but then at those early 2000 years, I had whatever it was. What was it? PlayStation?
PlayStation.
Tekken 4? Yeah.
Yep.
And we used to have people over the house and tournaments and everybody. I mean, it was a good
Mortal
time.
Kombat was also a good one. Back in the
Yeah,
day.
for sure. I was into that before Tekken 4.
We
Yeah.
just had a cabin hangout up in Tennessee for my brother's. Like, he wanted to have a friend gathering, so there was about 50 of us.
Oh my
Cow.
God.
That's a lot of friends.
in a cabin. Yeah, and they had a movie theater room, which I was there for maybe 10 minutes, and then my friend was already there, and he's like, "So you want to set up the Switch?" There's probably about a dozen or so of us that play.
That would have been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
How
like
big
a
of a
blast.
screen?
Oh, probably 80. Yeah, 80 inches.
This is
Nothing like
Tennessee?
yours. Nothing like yours.
Tennessee, you said?
Tennessee,
Yeah. Whereabouts?
Smoky Mountains, Gatlinburg,
Oh, nice. Gatlinburg's beautiful.
Love it.
redneck Las Vegas,
Absolutely.
or the Orlando of the mountains.
When Tina and I got married.
That's a way to say it.
When Tina and I got married, we got married down here where my parents came here. And then we had at her Mima's place in North Carolina. We were up there for the reception, and we did stuff up there. And so, speaking of Gatlinburg, I had gotten this rebuild job, right? And so I had gotten all the money for the rebuild job, and right before we left, and I'm getting married, I'm on my honeymoon, and her and I go to Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, right? And we're in the hotel, and next thing I know, I'm out of money. I'm like, I go to
A long way from home.
Yeah, exactly. I go to the ATM because it's our honeymoon. We're just trying to enjoy ourselves. And this
See
and
that Ripley's Believe It or Not aquarium.
And so we're
Believe it or not, I'm out of money.
and so I'm sitting there like, we're literally out of money. I can't get any money from the ATM. So we got money
Pan
from
for gold.
no, but
Rubies.
I borrowed some money, I think, from her mom, if I remember correctly. We got home and
Still paying off the interest on that.
23 years later. And then, I that was my learning lesson for me to never, ever take money for a job and not put it 100% towards the job. And I've done that ever since because I never wanted to feel that way again.
Yeah.
It's not that I hadn't, taken, already had the parts and everything was ready to go for this piano. And it wasn't a big rebuild. It was a small one. But it was something that I learned on my end. It was like, okay, Toby, from now on, you get a deposit. You put it all goes towards the parts and everything else. And then you do it, from that point forward. And I've done that ever since. It was just that one time. I was getting married, man. That's my honeymoon,
Yeah.
They had the moonshine tasting.
Well, that was a big job for him back then, though.
Yeah, back then.
It's not as big as it is now, but
I was just starting out.
Yeah.
I was trying to make my way in the world and trying to figure out how do you run a business. Never went to college, barely passed high school, and trying to figure out how do I run a business. And so I'm working out of my garage, and my parents lived across the street, and I'm refinishing out of my dad's garage and selling pianos out of the back of his house and rolling them down the street, to my house, putting them together. And I did that for like 3 years. And I'm like, I'm kind of done with this. I want to open a shop. My dad's like, no, you're not. What do you mean you're going to open a shop? I said, feels like something I got to do. He goes, don't do it. The overhead's going to kill you, And of course, we have 2 young kids. So
Being a garage guy is where it's at.
So, and Tina is like, we have 2 young kids, Brandon and Tori. And she goes, and I'm in the garage. I'm at work. I'm not at home. But to her, I was at home. So it's like, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you? No,
I'm a witness
working.
of that.
So it wasn't that is why I wanted to open a shop. It was just I was busy. I was, doing what I was doing. And I said, I'm going to try it. Let's see what happens. If I fail, I fail. If I don't, I don't. Well, 2008, I opened up. So 17 years later, here we are. We're having this conversation. We got a podcast. We're doing other things that I won't mention. Yeah, for the next podcast.
This is the next one?
or is it going to be this one?
I don't know.
It's up to you.
What was the first most memorable job you've ever gotten doing piano work?
I guess it's going to be the next one.
It hasn't happened yet.
That's not true.
You talking about rebuilding or like
Tuning or
Anything.
Or just first
okay.
memorial.
So the one thing that I love the most, you're not going to like this one. I love the most was when I was working in the garage, I had a TV set up and I had the Eagles on DVD and I played it and played it and played it because it was the Australian tour. They were in Australia. And I listened to it. I just loved it. I just thought it was great. I mean, I played it all the time. And that's when I started watching concert DVDs when I was working. And then I didn't watch them because I just listened to them, and I'm working in my shop. And I always had to have music going. I had so many different groups, The Who, Rolling Stones, you name it, I have it. I got the drawer over here full of them still. And so I got a call from Live Nation. Sarah Barnes calls me and goes, "Hey, can you work for the Eagles?" Now I'm still working at home, right? And I'm on the phone and I'm like, and I'm saying, "Tina, I get to work for the Eagles." And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "I get to work." And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "I'll tell you later."
Not now, I'm working.
I'll tell you at the shop.
So Sarah goes, "Yes, can you tune it for this?" And two times, right? Before rehearsal and after rehearsal. I said, "Absolutely." I said, "Instead of paying me, can I get tickets?" She goes, "Let me see what I can do." So, of course, we have 2 young kids, so Tina was worried about going. It was down at that time BB&T Center, where Panthers play. So, but my mom watched our kids. We went out to dinner and we parked backstage. I had tuned the piano the first time, and then we went to dinner. Then I came back and tuned right before the concert. I knew the whole set list because it was on the piano, so I knew what song was coming next, right? And yes, they gave us free tickets. So Tina and I are sitting stage left, like second row. It was really, really great seats. And so the concert was awesome. Everything was great. And we go to leave. So we're parked backstage, right? So this is freaking cool. We just followed the Eagles limousine out, and we just followed right behind them. And we got on 595 and got to 95, and we were gone. And 15,000 other people were stuck in traffic. And we didn't get to. So that was my I made it moment to me. Now, here was the other cool thing, too. I was very nervous tuning that piano because I know how flawless they are when they sing and play. So I started tuning the piano. And I went through it twice. Now, you couldn't tell where I started and stopped unless you were paying attention to me. I was dialing it in. I wanted this to be a perfect tuning, like all my tunings, but this was like, my moment. When I was done, I don't know if he was the manager or whoever he was, he goes, "I appreciate you going over the piano twice." I'm like, he must have been watching me the whole time. How do you know that I did that? You really had to have been paying attention. So he gave me a roadie shirt. And I thought that was cool.
Nice.
So I got the roadie shirt. It didn't fit, but I didn't care. And so, but I got that shirt and took that home. And it was, that was the other cool thing. But when the concert ended, the Eagles are all walking off stage. And of course, Glenn Frey, Joe Walsh, Don Henley, they're all waving to everybody. And Tina went, "Mwah," like that. And Don Henley blew her a kiss back. That's how she knew that he saw her, because everyone's waving. Yeah. So she blew a kiss and he blew it back to her. So that was her, moment too, with that part of it. And then the second time I got called to work for him, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll get paid for this one. Sure. But that was cool too, because so it's a closed rehearsal. Nobody but the Eagles and the sound techs and lighting is allowed in the rehearsal part.
As a saxophonist who has to play with orchestras, saxophonist not a regular member of the orchestra, so they want to not have you at every rehearsal, so you get to come to one and then the concert, so you have to play it perfectly on that one time, because okay,
interesting,
because that's the rehearsal, like the day of or the day before the concert, and the rest of the orchestra is ready to just run through it with the saxophone part in it. So you need to be performance ready at the first go around. And if you're not,
you're out.
Yeah, and then they just don't call you again.
Oh wow!
So good thing the Eagles called you again.
So with this during right before the rehearsal, or was after? I don't remember. I'm standing as close to your Joe Walsh and your Glenn Frey before he passed away.
Congratulations!
And this is how close
I'd
I
rather
am
be
to
Don
them.
Henley.
And I'm getting ready to go on stage because they just finished. That's what it was. They finished the rehearsal, and so I'm like, I really want to get their autograph, but I really don't want to bother them because their bodyguards are standing right next to them. By the time I make one step forward, they're probably going to tackle me. So I just had that story to know that I was this close to them, but it was just cool,
You
just
should have brought a clipboard with a fake form on it.
Yeah, right.
It says, and the thing is cut out where the signature goes. But I need you to sign this to verify.
And on the backside, it's an 8x10 picture of it.
Don't ask why you're signing it in Sharpie.
Hey, to Tobias.
It's got to say Tobias. The way my bank account's set up, it's got to say to Tobias with love.
It's the only way my bank takes it.
That's right.
Well, we kind of had a funny thing today. So we went to a customer of ours. I rebuilt her Baldwin. This is probably 10, 12 years ago.
I thought you were going to say you're signing for one of our secret packages for our Skunkworks project.
And so what happened was we were there because all three of us had to manually pick the piano up. We couldn't roll it on her silk carpet. So we had to pick it up and put it into place. And her son is having a kid today, and she tells us, guess what they're naming him? And I'm like, what? She goes,
Timmy.
Oh,
Fred. Not Timmy.
no. You were there,
Tobias.
jackass. Tobias.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
It really
really?
is. Yeah.
That's cool. Thank you. I know it's not after me, but it was just cool. And she
was
sent
after
me
you.
a
It
quick- And but no, it was just cool that I happened to be there today. He's being born today. You know what I mean? Where I'm supposed to be. I should call her and say, hey, did your
you
grandmother
should-
yet?
You really should
Reach
touch
out
base
to her
with her.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Say, hey, did you
Yeah,
have-
yeah, yeah.
Because while we were there, she's just like, she's not in contractions yet. She's not in contractions yet.
Yeah.
But it's just a cool little thing. But like one time with Live Nation, I was working for Bruce Springsteen, and they had an armed guard by his guitars because one concert, someone stole one of his guitars.
Wow.
And it was just it's kind of sad, when you think about it. I know what the person's thinking, I'm going to steal this to make some money or whatever. But it's like, come on, man, this is their profession. This is what they do. It'd be
Yeah.
like someone stole your saxophone. I mean, that would freaking suck,
Or somebody taking Toby's piano. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I'm not a musician, but yeah, but no, it's just it's cool when you have these stories. Once again, getting back to that was the start of this is I think people need to hear what other people go through in life, whether it's hard times or good times, to know that, especially with hard times, no one wants to go through hard times by themselves. And we have hard times here. I mean, there's stuff that happens. We got stuff going on here.
There's some play saxophone.
Yeah. But you just hearing the stories, I think it's just what is super, super cool.
Yeah. Kyle, I'm curious, what do you listen to?
Oh,
When you're not preparing for a concert, when you're just chilling and you're,
it's a good question.
what do you
video
listen to?
games.
No,
Smash Brothers.
white noise, pink noise, brown noise, just various static sounds.
Usually,
ASMR.
depending on my
Yeah.
mood, to go to sleep.
Yeah.
No,
People crinkling paper.
yeah, as far as music goes, I'm right at this moment in my life, I'm in this weird rut where I'm not listening to as much music at this moment. Like, I'll listen to stuff and that's cool, but I mentioned earlier I'm studying Japanese.
Mhm.
So
It takes
feels
care of your music
weird.
listening time.
Well, it does, it's in South Florida as a working musician and teacher, you're driving a lot. So most of the time that I have to listen to something is driving. And right now, all of my driving time is spent listening to Japanese
Gotcha.
podcasts. So
How to speak Japanese. and
yeah,
how-
well, it's really just it's in Japanese. The podcast is called Nihongo Kon Teppei for beginners, so it's just easy Japanese, like everyday conversation stuff.
for you.
Yeah. So there's about 80 or 90 hours of that that's recorded because the episodes are 4 or 5 minutes, and he's on episode 1300 or something. So I'm about halfway through that.
Okay.
But I've gone through different phases. In my undergrad, I listened to a lot of classical saxophone recordings. Before in high school, mostly jazz, just like small, like standard stuff, like giant steps, some big band stuff. Probably some of my earliest favorite stuff is the GRP All-Star Big Band. Fantastic albums. I don't know if you ever heard those. Just all the GRP records, jazz artists came together for this special big band a few times, and they recorded some some live albums, and I think they did an album version. They're just phenomenal.
GRP. No, I have not heard of them. So
Oh,
I'm gonna check 'em out.
yeah.
Is that like Smash Mouth and?
Yeah. Celine Dion.
Okay,
no.
awesome. Mended together.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But just
Sign us up.
heavy hitters on every instrument
Wow.
come together for this really special thing. Buddy Rich has always been a favorite big band of mine. I like big band. I like all sorts of jazz stuff. And then as I got out of grad school, I talked about input before. I wanted to not, it's weird when you're surrounded by it and you go to all the conferences, you kind of get into this, like, you play for other professional saxophonists. So the saxophonists understand the difficulties of the saxophonists. So your goal, whether you're intentionally doing it or not, becomes trying to impress other saxophonists. However, you only play for a bunch of other saxophonists in school or at conferences, which is where all of your performances are through school, right? So after I graduated, I realized if I want to do whatever performing, the performing I'm going to be doing is not going to be for just an audience filled with saxophonists.
Right.
So I had gotten...
Very few, as a matter of fact.
Right. Mostly zero.
Right.
Yeah. Almost zero.
Yeah.
So whatever other performing opportunities I found, I kept realizing, okay, I'm not going to be playing for other saxophonists. I need to figure out what I'm lacking in my input that maybe other instrumentalists have. And I had worked with pianists and other like maybe some orchestral musicians, and realized if you're a violinist, you're going to be more knowledgeable on orchestral repertoire, or if you play an orchestral instrument, you're going to have studied orchestral excerpts, right? If you take this clarinet solo from whatever piece and you listen to 50 recordings and you pick your favorite 3, and then you really heavily study this excerpt, and you play all the repertoire in festivals and everything. But as a saxophonist, I wasn't really familiar with other instruments' repertoire as much, so I spent a lot of time finding performers on other solo instruments and finding solo repertoire. I really like violin and piano music, and then I also like transcribing that music and playing it on saxophone where it's appropriate. It's tricky, but there's some pieces that work really well, and there's some pieces that don't work at all, but people still try. So listening to some of that kind of stuff, and then the last 2 years, our group is disbanding for now, but for the last 2 years, I've been in a reed quintet, which is oboe, bassoon, soprano, clarinet, bass clarinet, and saxophone. Ooh. So it's all reed instruments. So last year we formed the group about a year from last October. So I guess it'd be about a year and a half. And then we got together for fun and wanted to see how it would go. And we played, and we were like, okay, we're pretty good, and this is really fun. Let's see what we can do. So we applied, and we ended up being invited to the live round of the Fish-Off competition, which is it's a very prestigious chamber music competition in the U.S. every year.
Oh, wow.
It's in Indiana. So we were invited to perform in the live round out of, I don't know how many, but they only invite 12.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, we were pretty surprised, but it was great. And then we reformed because 2 of the members graduated. But it's been really interesting working with that closely with orchestral musicians. They're grad students from Lynn University. Lynn University is a very special program. It's a very small conservatory, and they work. It's just a lab. It's really great. But having to blend with musicians with orchestral sensibilities and the phrasing and the articulation and the things that they are most concerned about. So that's something I've added to my sort of palette, if you will. And then, I mean, as a saxophonist, I like good saxophone playing regardless of whatever it is they're playing. So probably all-time favorite is Michael Brecker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's the best. As far as living performers for saxophone, Chris Potter, Joel Fram are some of the big. Seamus Blake. There's quite a few really good jazz saxophonists. Active groups, Snarky Puppy.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I forgot about them.
But the problem is they come out with an album, and then I'm like, okay, this album's amazing. And then I listen to it 1,000 times, and I'm like, okay, when's the next album coming?
10 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
they
forgot about
they
them.
put out albums, but
Yeah.
What about Brass Against the Machine?
Rage Against the Machine?
No, Brass
Against the Machine? No, I've
No?
no.
Okay, so you know Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
Brass.
All right.
Yeah, no, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Really
So I mean, as far as music goes, I'm right now in a weird floating, like, not purgatory, but whatever zone that is, where I'm not really finding new stuff as much.
Japanese.
It's really
See, I like the ska.
ska.
music.
Okay.
Yeah, which is, has a little bit of everything for everybody, which is awesome.
When I was in Japan, I went there with my buddy Tim, because he was one of the highest salesmen for Kauai. So he's like, "Hey, you want to go to Japan?" I'm new into the piano world. I'm like, "Oh yeah, free trip to Japan, absolutely." So Tokyo was I mean, this is over 20 years ago, so I'm sure it's even much better now. But they treated us like celebrities,
Royalty.
Americans. Yeah, they're just like, "Oh yeah, whatever you need." So I was like, "Okay." So I asked our tour guide. I said, "How do you say I think you're cute in Japanese?" I'm going to go up to a Japanese girl and say,
Kyomo
"Not to Kauai."
kawaii.
Yeah,
It's got two eyes at the end.
correct. So not to Kauai, if I'm saying it right.
Well.
It's been 20 something years. Anyway, so I got
Not a Kauai.
not a Kauai.
A Yamaha. Not
Even
a
though it
Kauai.
was
Kawaii.
Kauai.
But I was there for Kauai, so it was just kind of easy for me to remember, right? So we're all
I
there's
think I know where this is going.
so there's like 40 of us, right? And I had my camcorder. Back then we had a camcorder. All these Japanese are probably like, "You dumb American, you got this big machine."
Yeah.
So I get the camcorder out and I'm filming, everything as we're walking, and I just kind of put it away. And then there were these two cute girls walking past us. So I walked past them. I said, "I'm not to walk Kauai." And she turns around and go, "We speak English." Everybody started laughing at me. I was like, whatever. It's fine.
Okay. There's another direction this often goes. Kawaii is cute.
Mm-hmm.
So if you say, "Anata wa kawaii desu," that means you're cute. But if you say kawaii, that means scary.
So maybe
That's a slippery slope.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
O is scary. A is cute. Kawaii.
Okay. Well, I don't think I'm going back to Japan anytime soon. But it was just funny.
And you're married.
Yeah, and I'm married. Yeah. I'm not going back without her. That's for sure.
That's right.
But it was very clean over there. We were in the Imperial Garden, and my buddy who invited me to go was smoking a cigarette. And so a cop comes up to our tour guide and taps her on the shoulder. She turns around, she goes, and he goes, "He cannot smoke here," in Japanese. And she goes, "Okay." And she goes, "You put your cigarette out. You can't smoke it. You can't smoke in here. We're outside." He didn't know any better. "You can't smoke here." And so Tim did. And she's like, they're so polite here. You know, that's how afraid of a cop she was.
Oh, wow.
That's how it is over there. It is so strict. And she was afraid of a cop. But another story was we went downtown Tokyo, and we went to, out of all the places we could have gone to for nightlife, we went to an American bar in Tokyo. And, you know,
McDonald's, an Irish joint.
Burger King.
but the food at McDonald's was expensive over there when we were there. You know,
it's not real meat.
I think it's probably cheaper there now. than
probably.
here.
But back then, it was like the prices we have now. But back then,
Probably better food than we have here at our
You mean
McDonald's.
just like
too.
actual food?
Yeah, it's probably beef.
You know,
Definitely not beef.
so we're in
In
this.
Japan, I bet you it is.
And
Oh,
to get to the nightclub, right? We leave the hotel, and there's this guy with this girl, this Japanese guy and this girl, and he goes, "Where are you going?" And we said, "We want to go downtown, nightlife, you know." And he goes, take you." He gets a cab. He pulled, you know, we all get in the cab together. He drives us. He tells the driver where to take us, and he paid everything and just kept going his own way, right? And there's another story I can tell you, but anyway, we're down. We go find this American nightclub. You know, of course, we're the only Americans in there, and it's like on the second or third floor. So we go up like a fire escape to get there. It's everything was outside, right? Yeah, that's how it is. So we're in there and we're talking, and there's a couple guys, and if you talk slowly, you can actually have a conversation with Japanese people. And we were doing that. We're sitting on a couch, and Tim's talking to one guy, I'm talking to another guy, and Kauai, you know, and so we're having this conversation, and I don't know, it was really, really weird because all of a sudden, nobody's in the bar except me and Tim. And we're sitting there like, where'd everybody go? It was just like a fluke. I mean, we didn't see anybody rushing out. It was just like kind of, by the time we really noticed it and realized it, nobody was in the bar. I'm like, you smell smoke? He goes, yeah. And I'm like, maybe we should go outside and see what's going on. So we went outside, and there's firemen coming up the stairs to go on the third floor. Right above us is a fire, and no one told us. So we're the only two in this.
They were probably yelling fire.
Yeah.
Kaji.
You thought somebody hit a home run.
So, but we walk outside, and the firemen are coming up with the hose, and we're like, oh, okay. So we just left and went downstairs. They had, back then, they already had touchscreen phones. I mean, that's how far ahead of us they were way back then, you know. But super nice people. There was this one time we decided to go off on our own, and I wanted to find this watch that had the time, but in Japanese on it. And so we decided to go to a market to find it. So me and Tim said, we're going to go, we'll figure it out. Everything's color coded for the subways. You know, we'll figure it out. And everyone's like, okay. So we knew what color we had to go to. So we put our ticket through, you know, and we walk downstairs, we walk away, we go up, we go down, blah, blah, blah. And then we get a tap on our shoulder. And it's this little old Japanese woman. She goes, your ticket, you need your ticket. We didn't know that when we put it through, it popped out on the other side, because that was for us to come back.
Yep.
You know? And then we're like, oh, you know, thank you. I forgot. What's that in Japanese?
Arigato.
Arigato, right. Arigato, we said that, right? And she went the completely opposite way of where she was not going the same direction. She
followed you.
She followed us that whole way to give us our tickets back so we could get our train back.
If you lose your wallet, you will get it back.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
With everything in place?
Probably. Depends who finds it.
But they
Yeah,
ride.
right.
It was funny to see too, because they all ride bicycles and they all had cell phones. You know, so it was just, you know, back then, cell phones, the phones we had back then were flip phones. You know, they weren't the touchscreen phones, but they're all on their bikes, you know, riding with a cell phone. It was funny.
the subway system there, anywhere in Tokyo at least, anywhere you want to go, there is a station within a 15-minute walk of wherever it is. And then besides that, if you have a bike, you can go to those places way easier. My wife and I stayed at the Hilton Tokyo when we were there, and they have a bike borrowing service. You just give them your room number, and they let you borrow a bike. And I was there for probably 5 days or so, and I didn't use this service last time, but I borrowed the bike, and I felt like I had like a a motorcycle, speeding through. But it's just like everything's so
You're
much
able to get
closer than you
everywhere.
think. Yeah. I thought
That's
when
really
you,
cool.
because you just look when you're there, you're like, okay. You use I use Google Maps has the subway stops in there, so I just browse by train, whatever the train access is. And if something's far from a station, it's like, I won't go there. But then you look and it's like a 10-minute bike ride. Yeah, it's like perfect weather depending on the time you go.
Wow.
And then that one center where they have the crosswalk, that one intersection.
Shibuya.
Yep, where it's like this and then it's an X. And what is it, like 10,000 people will be all in there when the lights turn red crossing at one time?
Yeah.
It's
Quite the
insane.
sight.
It's insane.
I think
Yeah.
I've seen video of that.
Now,
Yeah.
the last time I went was also with Holly. It was still shut down. Japan was
Cameras.
not open for tourism because of COVID. I think it was 3 years ago in the summer. We went, and I had to get a special visa for it because I think they had just started opening for tourists, but limited to group tours. You had to have an officially sanctioned tour group tour. But I was there. I got invited by a company to do some. I forget the exact title of our visa, but it was a very weird, like, tourist visa for business or something, something along those lines, where I couldn't earn money, but I was there for business. And because of that, there were no. I was the only foreigner around. I didn't really encounter. So it was a pretty stark contrast walking through. I don't know if I'll ever. It's a very rare experience to go there where it's only Japanese people. So we just went there, and there's so many tourists now, and that was only 3 years ago. But it's quite the stark contrast. I didn't realize how special of an experience that would be until going there again and seeing all the tourists.
That's interesting.
It's that same corner as like on Tokyo Drift where they're doing. Have you seen Tokyo Drift? Fast and Furious, where they're going around that corner. Is that the same corner you're talking about?
No, you're talking about where all the people congregate? No, that's an intersection. I don't think so. It was
You're a moron if you're trying to drive a car through this area.
yeah.
Well, no, I mean, if you've watched Tokyo Drift, it's like
Probably came out when I was 8,
10,000.
and I probably saw it then.
Yeah, Kyle's a lot older than what he looks.
punk.
Not a lot. You're just older than what you look. Yeah, no, I don't think so. But I don't remember.
It's near a lot of. It's a heavy. There's a lot of shopping in that area, and it's a crosswalk where not only do you have the normal street crossings, you can also walk across catty corner, across the intersection
it's an
diagonally.
X, and once that turns red, shoom.
And everybody follows those.
Yeah.
Like there will be no cars.
Yep.
And you're waiting there for however long to cross.
Yeah,
whichever crossing.
Has a lot of. I'd like to go back to Japan. It was very clean,
I'd
extremely
love to go. I've never
clean.
been. So.
Please tell me if you go. I'm going with you.
Okay. Well, next time you go more than me, so maybe I can hitch a ride with you.
There you go.
But hey, Kyle, man, it's been great having you on. Thank you
Absolutely.
very much. We'll do it again because we got to let the people know what we're doing in the future.
Yep.
So we'll do it maybe before school starts again.
Yeah, of course.
School starts when again? August.
I think the first day of classes. So I guess people on the podcast. I'm starting my DMA in the fall at the University of Miami. I earned a fellowship with the Henry Mancini Institute.
Nice.
So it's a 3-year program where I get to play in the Henry Mancini Institute Orchestra, and that'll be August 18th is the first day of classes, and I'll probably have to go to some onboarding things a few days before then, so mid-August.
Okay.
Very cool.
I'm actually going, I have one more trip. Monday, about a year ago, I recorded an album with the FAU Women's Vocal Ensemble Vocalis. We recorded some new music. The album title is Wind in the Reeds. That is a new work by Irish composer Michael McGlynn. So they had asked if I would be interested in playing saxophone for it, and he wrote this piece called Wind in the Reeds, and I'm on that album. And now we are doing a tour in Ireland with that music.
Oh, awesome.
So FAU is bringing me along. They're covering my travel.
Nice.
So I'll be doing a tour. I think we're doing, the last I heard is 3 concerts across Ireland.
Awesome.
And
Do you need a roadie?
He can carry your saxophone.
I think I'll get a roadie there.
No doubt.
So that's I'm going Monday, and we'll be there until the 20th.
And you did just come back from Europe, right? Were you doing something there? Okay.
That was, Europe was last year in the summer.
Oh, okay.
And then the Tennessee trip was just recently.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm getting my summers confused. Sorry. So, well, good luck to all your
Thank
endeavors
you.
coming up. I know we have something that we're working on together.
A secret project.
Project X.
We've been teasing stuff, I think, the last 3 or 4
I know.
podcasts. Like, stay
Absolutely.
tuned. We got something coming.
Yeah, well, you just have to
There's
do that.
We're gonna have to start delivering here
multiple
sometime
things.
soon.
Yes.
It's going to
Multiple
happen.
things
Trust me.
coming in play.
Yeah. It's like a soap opera. You got to see what happens on the next episode.
Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z.
See, I was going to go same bat time, same bat channel.
Well, you got one
Generational thing.
to be continued. That's all I got.
See you next time.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you, Kyle, very
Thank you
much.
for having me on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man,
it's
it's a
fun.
blast. We'll do it
Good
again.
stuff.
And good luck on your Ireland trip.
I don't play piano, so there's a reason I'm hanging out at Hamilton Piano Company.
Hint, wink, wink. All right, everybody. Thank you. You can follow us on all the platforms and visit us at hamiltonpianoco.com. Give us a call if you have any questions, 561-965-8090. And everybody have a good
That's
night.
his personal cell phone number.
Yeah, right. Have a good
Edit
night.
that out. Good night.
Good night.